Hey guys, happy Sunday. I'm Tom. As you can see from below, this is the Enthusiasm Project Sunday live stream number 5. And we're actually doing it on Sunday this week. Last week was not on Sunday because Super Bowl and not even try to compete with Super Bowl. So anyway, today Sunday, back in this room instead of the garage. We've been talking about 3D printers for the last few weeks. I've got some other stuff I want to go with you guys, a few updates for you. So I kind of run these as long as I feel like. So please feel free to jump in and ask questions, make comments, because that's sort of the best part. It's kind of why I'm taking a little bit of time doing the intro right now, because it takes a bit of time for people to jump in and watch and see things. It's probably also a good chance for me to check the sound and make sure the sound not only is working, but is synced. I know it's kind of ghetto to like let me pull out my phone and check the sound, but not only is working, but it's synced. Wait, why is it like double? Oh, see, it's a good thing I checked. I sound like a crazy person right now. This is bizarre. There we go. That should fix that problem, which sounded. It sounded ghetto to like let me pull out my phone and check the sound, but man, it almost sounded cool. So. Welcome to the Completely Insane live stream. Wait, why is it like double? Oh, see, it's a good thing I checked. I sound like a crazy person right now. This is bizarre. There we go. That should fix that problem. Okay, cool. So it sounds like that got fixed, which was just sort of a kooky little thing that happened there. Which sounded cool. Mexican Soccer Kid. Yeah, sorry, Mexican Soccer Kid. I fixed the echoes. I had my mic, which I normally use. And then for some reason, my regular computer mic also got turned on. So there were dual microphones. Not what we wanted to do right now. So for the last couple weeks, I've been talking a lot about 3D printing. I've been showing you guys some stuff about 3D printers. Things to make that are 3D printed, like this goofy octopus-looking pen holder thingy right there. But one of the things I made when I first got this pen holder, or when I first got this filament, this blue filament, this is actually not a vape pen, which is what it looks like. It's a case for an Apple Pencil, because you spend $100 on an Apple Pencil, and then you get really scared that things are gonna, break and get damaged. So it's kind of nice to be able to fix that. So this is actually what I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about a little bit today, was the Apple Pencil. And I will quickly explain why. Let me just take these words off the screen so they're not in your way. But before we jump into that, I do want to remind anyone who watches this, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. I'm super close to 200 subscribers. And like I mentioned last week, according to YouTube's analytics, most people who watch my videos aren't subscribed. And it's just quite helpful if you are subscribed. It helps me know my audience better, helps me know what kind of content to produce. Not that I would never make stuff that I want, but if I have to choose between two things that I want to make, and I know that you guys will benefit from or like one more than the other, I'd rather make that thing than the other thing. So please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. But this is what I want to talk to you about, because the Apple Pencil's not anything new right now. It's been around for over a year. And when these came out, Apple was ridiculed so hard because they were like, it's the Apple Pencil. And everyone was like, are you kidding me? You're going to charge me $100 for a pencil that's all white Apple. And then to charge it is you have to plug it into the bottom of an iPad or an iPhone to charge, which is the stupidest looking thing ever. So why would anyone buy one of those? And then I, of course, ran out and bought one. But I want to explain why I bought one. I want to explain how I use it, and I kind of want to show you guys some of the stuff that I've been doing with it, which is also in the description below, some links to some other videos and things like that. So what I have been doing with the Apple Pencil is using Procreate on the iPad Pro. And that, this is going to sound totally like a commercial for Procreate, and I promise you that it's not. I paid for Procreate. I just really like it. And I've noticed a lot more people using Procreate to create hand-drawn titles. Once you start using it, you can kind of spot it really easily. And so I kind of wanted to show you my process for how that works, what I do, and why. So if you have an iPad, maybe even they have an iPhone app, you could download Procreate from the App Store. I don't know if they have an Android version. They might. But anyway, it's super cheap. It's like $5. It's a very full-featured app. It's got a lot of the same features that like full-on Photoshop has on your computer, but it's on your tablet or your mobile device. You can, of course, use your fingers or a stylus. But if you take the Apple Pencil and put it here, the reason that the Apple Pencil costs $100 is because it has a bunch of crazy electronics inside of it. And if you've ever seen like teardown videos or anything, it's not just a piece of plastic. There's like a whole thing happening inside here. And even though it's dumb that you have to charge it by putting the lightning port, it takes like 5 minutes to fully charge, and it lasts a really long time. But what this does, if you've ever used a Wacom tablet, like an Intuos or a Cintiq, this replicates those features where it has pressure sensitivity. I don't even know how many thousands of layers of pressure sensitivity. It adjusts tilt. You can adjust the flow of like the ink. So really, this with an iPad Pro is a lot like a Cintiq, except it's super portable. You don't have to plug it in the same way you have to plug in a Cintiq, and you don't have to have a separate computer running the software. It's all being run off the iPad. And really, even though this is $100, the functionality you're getting, Cintiqs, the cheap, tiny ones go for $700 or $800, and if you get in the big ones, they get very, very expensive. And the Cintiq, if you don't know, it looks like a big display for your computer, but you can draw on it and then manipulate everything on the screen. They are fantastic. They're just very expensive. So an iPad with an Apple Pencil is like half the price of that. It's one of the times where Apple actually comes out cheaper. Now, Procreate as an app is really cool. Let me see if I can throw Procreate up here. I've been trying to work this out. There we go. So this is like the home screen of Procreate. It's a goofy name and you feel like kind of a weirdo when you say it. But this is basically the home screen where all your documents are. They, of course, when you first open Procreate, they give you... oh, it looks like there's a little bit of a delay there. Or it's not coming through or something. Oh no. This is strange. You guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing on my screen. Let's see if we can fix that. But anyway, when you first get Procreate, they give you some artwork that looks, I don't know if you can see this, it looks something like this, and you're like, oh my god, how am I going to create something like that? The answer is you're probably not going to create something like that. But let me see here. Oh, I needed QuickTime to be open, and I closed QuickTime. So, stupid on me. Sorry for all these technical things. It's a one-man show over here. So, QuickTime, new movie recording, and we will be using the iPad. Look at that beautiful goodness. And then iTunes shows up. Let me tell you, while we're talking about Apple, I love the $100 Apple Pencil. I will pay $100 to never have to deal with iTunes again, which is like the worst piece of software I've ever used. And I've used terrible, terrible software throughout my life. Let's see here. What is going on with you, QuickTime? Okay, QuickTime on here is looking good. Great. Okay, let's jump back here and see now. If I open this up, will you guys get to see that? There might be a little delay. Okay, good, you can. So this is a sample piece of art that comes with the iPad. And there might be a little lag, but it is what it is. And you can create something like this. All of these sample artwork pieces were created using Procreate. I am not this talented of an artist. So instead, if you go to my Procreate home screen, what you'll notice is there's a few things that I've done that are like art, but like it's not the same as the other one. However, Procreate does have lots and lots of layers. So just like Photoshop has layers, Procreate has all kinds of layers that you can edit and manipulate and work with in different ways, which is great. And what's super cool also when you're done, you have all these sharing options. So when you're ready to share from Procreate, you can send out a number of file formats. You can do Photoshop, so Photoshop will read the Procreate layers. You can do PDF, JPEG, PNG. You can also export a video because Procreate records every brush stroke that you make, whether you're using an Apple Pencil or your finger or stylus or whatever, and it will play it back. So you can actually have like these time-lapse animations of your artwork, which is super cool. You can even do a live broadcast from the app itself. So instead of having cameras set up and lights and all this stuff and microphone, I could actually just have my iPad. You guys would see what's on the screen. You would hear my voice. I played around with it a little bit earlier this week. It works really well. The problem is it's using the iPad's microphone, and when you're tapping on it and writing on it, you hear the tapping and the writing, so it doesn't sound that great. Plus, I kind of wanted you to be able to see me so I could talk to you about stuff and see what I'm using as I'm using it. So anyway, we'll get out of my ridiculous artwork here. If you notice, most of my Procreate home screen is actually lettering, and this is pretty simple. And what I have found with Procreate, I used to just use titles within Final Cut. I would never use the templates. I would always make my own using like a basic title or whatever. And I found with Procreate, I can create simple titles, not unlike, I'll pop this one back up on the screen. Well, we'll leave it. Not unlike the ones at the beginning, say Tom Buck, at Sodar Tom. I can create those in almost the same amount of time it would take to create titles within Final Cut. And they're all unique and they're all hand done. So I really recommend it. So let's see, if I wanted to do, here's a preview of what my video is going to be this week on Tuesday, which I'm actually really excited about. I'm going to go over a bunch of stuff that I've learned from Peter McKinnon. Thank you, Mexican Soccer Kid, for saying it's still cool. I don't know if you're here for 3D printing or what. I'm trying to balance it out. I've been real 3D printing heavy lately, so I'm trying to go, bring in some of the other tech and stuff that I'm interested in, but definitely be coming back to 3D printing regularly. And I'll also be talking about stuff like this that I'm influenced by. One of the people I'm influenced by a lot and inspired by a lot is Peter McKinnon. And so to do hand-drawn titles like this took a little bit of time because they're slightly stylized, but it's pretty quick. But basically something like this just goes straight into... oh, I forgot the word from. Thanks, Heather. 5 things I've learned, Peter McKinnon. So I'm going to write myself a note here. Add from. That, yikes. See, this is the benefit of live streams because I would have been looking real dumb. I'm just going to draw circles there, and that's going to remind me to do something better. That was a test to see if you guys would help me out, and you did. Let's get out of this terrible title. Here's one of the things I've learned from Peter McKinnon. So here's an example. And this is just a PNG image. It has a transparent background. I can throw this into Final Cut, use it as a title the same way you would on anything else. It's super quick. You can scale it up, size it over, add transitions if you want. It's awesome. Really, really simple. The other thing I often do a lot, actually for every video that I record on my channel, is I have a little thing where you actually see the letters being drawn that says the episode number. So this week's is going to be episode 55. And I just hand draw those every time. And these ones I do pretty simply. I kind of do letter by letter. I do them on a green background, and then in Final Cut, I export the video, and then I just key out the green background, and you have the animation of the letters, and you can retime it and do all this stuff. There's a whole video I made about how to do that. It's in the link below. It's really simple. You could learn it in like 5 or 10 minutes. But I kind of want to show you guys, some of the basics here right now. So let's see. If I jump back here... if I jump back here to this shot and I bring up, interesting. There we go. If I bring up these images down at the bottom where it has my name and then the, like the Twitter and Instagram handle, those were just done within Procreate. And you can even see right here on Procreate, here was the Sodar and Tom thing that I made, which is really, really simple. Oh, and then there's a bunch of things, actually. There's the one of my name that I made, and here's even the Sunday Fun Day live stream title that I had put together that pops up before the live streams begin. So here's how to do that. And I'm going to kind of run over that with you, which is kind of a basic tutorial in lettering as well. So I'm going to run out to the gallery. I'm going to start a new file. Procreate also gives you the option of all kinds of sizes. You can create custom sizes. You can do standard sizes. You can do the screen size of your device you're using. For anything video, I just do 4K. Even though a lot of my videos now are 1080, I just kind of keep them in 4K. And then if you're going to be doing something like I do, which is a PNG file to use as a title, I just go in and get rid of the background so it's clear. Then you can select colors. You can save color palettes. Most of my titles are white just because that shows up really well. And then you've got the whole canvas there ready to go. And if you notice, depending on how hard I press the pencil, if I drag it along and I press harder and softer, you can actually see it's almost as if ink is coming out of a brush, and if I tilt it, it changes the shape. If I go lightly, it changes it. So this is really where like the Apple Pencil shines, because that is something that is just really hard to duplicate, and it duplicates it very well. I've also put an anti-glare screen protector on my iPad. Normally, I actually really hate screen protectors because they kind of detract from the use of a device. But the anti-glare ones are great because they have kind of a weird matte texture. And when you put the pencil on it, it feels, I don't know if you can hear it. It really feels and even sounds a lot like paper. It's the closest digital thing I have found to paper yet. And I've used a lot of Wacom tablets and Cintiqs and stuff. So I love it. And if something happens or it wears down, you just peel off the film and put on a new one. They're, $7 for a 2-pack on Amazon or whatever. Anyway, jumping back into Procreate. So here's kind of a basic lettering tutorial. What I have been using, and this is where Procreate really shines. You have so many brush options. If you look on the left here, these are all kinds of different ways that you can create art within Procreate. Even they got like spray paints. Look at these splatters. Like they have drip spray paint, brushes and stamps and things like that. Which, that's a little cheesy for what we're doing right now. You can go to airbrushing, you can go to art, you can go to paint, calligraphy, inking, just regular sketching. If you use a technical pencil, it really is a lot like a pencil. You can go over layers, you can adjust the size, you can adjust the opacity, but it really feels like you're drawing with a pencil. Yay. And that's just something I haven't seen duplicated anywhere else. Procreate also, for every single brush that you have, it gives you the option to set all of these different dynamics and properties, from the stroke to the shape, grain, dynamics, how the Apple Pencil interacts with Procreate. I'm sorry, for $5, like it's a really good deal. I would pay a lot more for this, but don't tell them that. So normally I actually have been using, where would it be? The Monoline. Because I have found for titles, especially titles you want to do quickly, what Monoline does is it kind of corrects itself a little bit. So instead of getting all of your jitters, it sort of creates smoother lines. And you can use this for different scripts and like calligraphy shapes and things like that. So if you want to do like, the letter L, or love, because it's Valentine's Day. Aw. Monoline really, like, I just use it because it's simple and quick, and I like simple and quick. So here we go. If I wanted to do some lettering, I don't know, what would be a good word to letter out? Somebody tell me a good word. One of the important things when you're doing lettering is to make sure that you don't just draw the letters. This is the number one thing. I love lettering. I've done it for years. I've done it professionally for a number of years too. And people see letters and they want to duplicate it, and they think that they're just going to go in and write, however you write. They think they're just going to show up, write that, and then it's going to look like yours. And that's not the case, because if you're doing lettering, there's actually kind of a difference. Well, a major difference. And I'm not even doing, the technically correct stuff. I'm just doing my own goofy font. And this is sort of the way letters are like skeleton outlined. Lettering. There we go. And the difference here, I did this very quickly, but the difference you can see is that when I just wrote out the word lettering, I was just drawing the letters. And you can do that, but when you're doing big block stylized lettering where it almost looks like a font of some kind, you're really drawing the shapes of the letters rather than writing. And it's very important when you're getting into lettering to get that into your brain, that you're not writing, you're drawing shapes. And there's a huge difference between writing and drawing shapes. And so that's basically what I do when I letter, is I draw the shapes of the letters. So you're not writing out the letter A, you're drawing the shape of the letter A. And the video I made, kind of explains this. And so what I mean by that, if I were to write the letter A, even if I make this as big as it can be, the brush, and I write A, that's what it looks like, which could be fine. But if I'm drawing out the shape of the letter A, I'm going to draw one side, the other side. I can smooth it out, and then you got the line in the middle. Those look very different. And then if you go through and you fill these in, I'm just going to do this real sloppy because it's quick, but if you were to fill those in, then it's different. They have totally different weights, totally different characters, totally different styles. Hey, Valerie, what's up? And I'm going to take Mexican Soccer Kid's suggestion of chicken because I like the shape of the word chicken. So I'm going to go through an example here of the word chicken. So if I were going to letter out the word chicken, and I'll do a couple different fonts here. So what I would normally do in my font for my videos is basically something like this. I would kind of just start lettering out, and I just draw the outlines first, and I do it with a pretty thick line. So we'll write the word chicken. Now with the font that I use, the good news is imperfections kind of work out because I like the really hand-drawn look. I like it to look like it was made by a human and not a computer because that's why I'm taking the time to do it by hand. And so basically, there we go. I also have a really hard time writing in a straight line. And so what I do instead is I tend to make my letters bounce up and down. So rather than like trying, if this is a line, rather than trying to keep all my letters on this line, I kind of like bounce them around, you know. It's almost like a graph where it's like, the line is the average. It's sort of a suggestion rather than a hard like rule. So there we go, chicken, ba-boom, 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 and I'll add an exclamation point because exclamation points make everything fun. And so there you go. And now, of course, with Procreate, you have the entire color palette at your disposal and different shading effects and whatnot. But normally what I do is then I just make the brush a little smaller and I just go in and kind of scribble in the letters and fill them in. And it gives it a nice hand-drawn look. It's relatively quick for me. I like the final result. And that pretty much ends up covering how I do my titles. And so if you do something like this, you know, if I wanted the word chicken to pop up on one of my videos that I was making, it would really only take this long. And keep in mind, I've taken breaks to like talk and explain things, and I'm doing a live stream where like, you know, some people are watching, so it's a little nerve-wracking. But if this is just me doing it, it's a relatively quick process to get a decent result. And then you just click share, sends it wirelessly to your computer, drop it into Final Cut Pro or whatever editing software you use, and you're good. You're done. It's just as fast as using the built-in titles in the editors once you get the hang of it. But then you have something, nobody else is going to have the word chicken that looks like I have the word chicken right here. So that's kind of cool. And then you can also, you know, I would do things a little differently if I were trying to do script. I might try to be a little more, maybe a little more perfect with my lettering. Maybe just a little bit more. If you're really interested in lettering, there's a bunch of good Instagram hashtags for like hand lettering and hand-drawn lettering that are really impressive, the work that people can do. There's also a great hand lettering subreddit where people like share their work and they do 30-day lettering challenges and super cool stuff like that. I wouldn't say that this right here is my best work, but it is what it is for now on a live stream. But I wanted to do this just to kind of give an example of a different style. And then to also show the difference, even though this is still a little sloppier than it normally would be. The top one is, you know, kind of a scribbled in effect, and the bottom is filled in a little more, you know, a little more fully. And it gives a totally different feel to do things that way. So that's kind of the basics of how I do my lettering. Now, what's really cool here, let's go over here and export a time-lapse video. So we'll just save the video here, export successful. I'm gonna be brave, open up my photos on a live stream. Here's a sunset I took at work. Sunrise, actually, I took at work the other day. Yes, here are my photos. So crazy. Where is the video we just took? Videos, there we go. So when I said that Procreate exports time lapses, here's the words that I just wrote. If I press play, this is the video that Procreate will have created. It's everything I put, all the strokes that I did on that one document. But you can see it comes out. I think it was a little glitchy in the stream here, but if you play it here, it's very smooth. I mean, I could play it again in the bottom. You can kind of see it's actually quite smooth. And it looks great, and you can cut that up, and you can adjust the timing, put that in your videos, and suddenly you have all these hand-drawn effects. It's really easy, it's really fun, and it's really, really simple. So, now looking at these videos. So let's jump back into Procreate. Go over here real quick. Here's a great idea. You guys can kind of help me out here. Or at least watch me as I fix something. So I showed this earlier. This is the video that I'm going to release on Tuesday. I love Peter McKinnon. If you've never seen his stuff, you definitely want to check out his channel. He's great. A lot of photography, cinematography, filmmaking, vlogs. Super talented guy. And he's had a channel for about a year now. And I want to let me undo. Oh no. He's had a channel for a little over a year, and his channel just blew up like crazy. He started his channel at the beginning of 2017 and then got like 1 million subscribers in 9 months and is up to like 1.5 million or more now or something. But he's so good at what he does. And it's been so interesting to watch someone with that talent start a channel and then grow like crazy. So anyway, I wanted to make a video. He has a lot of technical things that he teaches, but I kind of wanted to go into the more philosophical things that I've learned from him. And I'm actually really glad that Heather pointed out an error here. So for my video, there's a main title, which is 5 things I've learned from Peter McKinnon. Big issue is that this is not planned. This is totally accidental. So now I'm doing work that I need to get done here. I forgot the word from in these titles. And I also I don't like the way this eye looks. It's a sans serif eye. I would prefer that I don't know. Actually, I don't know if this would be technically a serif, but I would prefer if it had a little top to it. I think that will be clearer. Yeah, that looks way better. It looks a little less empty over there. And even here, just simple lettering, you could spend a lot of time doing things real beautifully. But even here, out here, I left the letters as skeleton, I call them skeleton things, but it's just the outlines. In the middle, I filled in the letters, and at the bottom for the name, which is kind of the big part, I did my traditional sketchy look. So there's 3 different styles of letters in this one title, which is kind of a cool thing. Now, what I want to do here is I put the words I've learned on their own layer, which means I can select them and actually move them around. Except that I didn't put the I. This is where layers become very important to remember what you're doing here. So I'm going to put I've learned over there. I have this weird little dot that just showed up. I don't know which layer that's on. It's actually here, so I'm just going to grab an eraser. Oh, it's on the McKinnon layer. Damn you, McKinnon. So we'll just erase that. Now, I'm going to make sure that I'm on the layer that has I've learned, because I've learned my lesson. And I'm going to go back in and fix things up a couple more times. Where I'm going to fix this top of the V and add in the top and bottom of the I. There. And now I can fill in this empty space over here with the word from. So if you watch my video on Tuesday, you'll see this title screen, and you'll know exactly how and when and why it was created this way. And when I did lettering professionally for a number of years, I started off trying to be so perfect and to make everything look like a computer did it. And some people are really good at that. I am not one of them. What I learned, which is also something I've learned from Peter McKinnon, is that done is better than perfect. And the imperfection just kind of became my style. There's nothing wrong when you're doing something by hand for it to be clear that somebody did it by hand. That doesn't mean it should be terrible, but it means it doesn't have to be this perfect computer precision. the flaws, give it character, give it something unique. And when you're doing titles, especially by hand, you want it to be unique and different from what other people are doing. There we go. 5 things I've learned from Peter McKinnon. And now, let's see. I, for some reason, thought it would be a good idea to add in these little like flourishes. You can add in things, little lines like that, which I'm actually not super crazy about in this case. Another thing which I didn't mention, a benefit of the Apple Pencil, is that it gives you a lot of precision. It seems silly, but this little point makes navigating the iPad so much easier, and any stylus I've ever seen that's not an Apple Pencil doesn't have a point quite like that. So there we go. 5 things I've learned from Peter McKinnon. Yay! It's spaced out pretty well. We'll add a new layer here, and I'm just going to add some silly little, like... Actually, this would be a great spot to do, like, a calligraphy brush, maybe. Or script. Let's see. No, never mind. I lied. I'm going to stick with monoline, because we're going to be quick and effective. And so I'm just going to put a little circle here. Actually, boom, boom, boom. Make that even thinner. It's always good when you're doing any kind of lettering, even though this is, I guess, isn't technically lettering, to mix and match weights, which is like the thickness of your lines. It just kind of gives the viewer, like the eye, something to look at. It gives it a texture, which is pretty cool. So I'll add another one of those little things over here. Bam. And with Procreate, if you draw a line and then hold it, it will turn it into a straight line rather than a curvy line, which is kind of a cool trick. Ooh, I didn't like that. And again, I'm not doing anything crazy fancy or ridiculous here. There we go. I'm just kind of filling in this space. This is sort of a busy little like thing. There's a lot of text on this. Normally I probably wouldn't put this much text on something. But in this case, for some reason, I just like the way that it looks filled in a little more than being empty. So there you go. There's my title screen for Monday. Or for Tuesday, sorry. When the video comes out on Tuesday. Now, to wrap up today, I'd like to go over one more thing for you guys. I don't know. Here we go. So back when I was doing my 30-day upload challenge, I made this. I was doing my daily titles, and they were the simple ones like I've been showing you. And then for the very last day, I did a title that looked like this, which was very colorful and a little bit different. So I figured right now would be kind of a good time to run you through the process of how I did that. And it's actually pretty simple. So let's jump back over here. Actually, I don't want to mess with that document. So I'm going to create a new document, 4K. Boom, we're good to go. We'll keep it on white this time. So I'm going to do things a little differently. We'll use a black line, bump this up a little bit. And the word I'm going to use right now, we'll just use the word like bananas. And so once you've been doing lettering for a while, you really kind of get to know, you get to know the shapes of letters. I'm talking like I'm like some big professional person, which I am not. You also start to understand that things don't actually... Never mind. What's the best way to do this here? It's also hard because I'm not on a table. I'm just on my knee. Let's just do the word rad. We'll keep this very simple. So the R, and I kind of know the shape that I like to make my letters in, which might be different from the way other people do theirs. We're going to make this look rad. Some might even say super rad. Actually, that's not super rad. I hate that A. Let's give it a bendy look. Ugh. Sorry, you just heard me judging myself there. And this is just a basic outline anyway. I don't like that at all. There we go. Boom. So if you ever wanted to know what my notes and things look like when I was in school, pretty much filled with stupid stuff like this. Oh, sorry, Heather, I was reading your thing. Your favorite word, your. And then I thought, never mind. I have an English degree, so correct. It's, there, your. It bothers me. Anyway, I have the basic letters outlined right here. So what I'm going to do next is figure out which side I want a shadow on, because I'm going to add a shadow. I could add shadows on this side of all the letters, or I could add shadows on this side of all the letters. Really doesn't matter. It would just indicate where a light source was coming from. I'm going to pretend that, let's pretend the sun is up here. So there's the sun. He's a super cool dude. And so if the sun is there, if our light source is there, actually I'm going to move him a little bit because he kind of got in the way. This is another thing with Procreate. If you decide you want to move stuff around, it's just like Photoshop. It's very easy to do. So we've got the sun over there. If our light is coming from this direction, that means the shadows would be on the opposite side. Just basic art lesson here, I guess. So now I'm going to go through and I'm just going to add in some shadows and some textures to give these letters a little bit of depth. And I'll fill those in. You don't want to make it too intense. That might be a little too thick, but it's okay. Should I bring that down a little bit? And this is a good chance, if you notice some of these lines are a little rough, when you go in and add shadows, that's when you can kind of go fix your lines if you want. If you don't want to, that's also totally fine. Not to sound too Bob Ross here, but like, whatever you want is okay. Boom. There we go. This looks like it needs more right there. That looks a lot better. And then the A is going to be hard. I kind of messed up with it a little bit. But again, not after perfection here. There we go. Just give some nice weight to these letters. And of course, it's really nice because you're using Procreate on a device that has, it's a touchscreen device. So you can, when you move stuff around, you can undo just by tapping. You can redo. You can move stuff around, pinch to zoom. It's really, really quick. I'm left-handed, so basically I haven't even moved my right hand this whole time I've been drawing. Everything has just been done with my left hand. But you can get really fast with things on Procreate on iPad. And I'm using the 10.5-inch iPad. If you have the big 12.9-inch one, it's like a regular piece of paper. It's awesome. And I will say, not to sound again too much like a commercial, but the iPad has really, really good palm rejection. So if you're drawing and you put your palm on the screen, it doesn't start smearing around. It just focuses on the pencil. I think that's pretty awesome. Heather says this is fascinating. Heather, you said you could never make something like that. You totally could. So it's not like I was born able to do this either. It's just sort of something that takes practice. But really, anybody can do it. The stuff I'm doing is not too difficult. And of course, I didn't learn on an iPad. I learned with markers and paper and stuff. And my notes in school. So like right here's a good example. At the top of this R... Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it got turned. So at the top of this R, you can kind of see it's uneven. This is a good chance as I'm doing the shadows to go in. I can even it out, and I can add in the shadow back here to sort of fix that. So when you're doing sort of goofy letters like I tend to do, you don't have to worry about perfection because you can just hide your mistakes, make your mistakes look intentional. That's all you got to do, really. Like, you want a key to success? Just make mistakes look like they were meant to be. No one will know. Heather and I were watching Westworld today, and there's a scene in one episode where Anthony Hopkins is going around, and he's sort of like controlling a rattlesnake with his hand because, it's just a machine that he built. And there's a little kid next to him that thinks, it's magic, and he's asking how it's done. And Anthony Hopkins says, everything is magic except to the magician. And that's basically it. So this stuff looks really hard, it looks really complicated, but if you're the one doing it, you actually know it's not that hard. And you're also the only one who knows what is a mistake and what isn't. So it's easy to kind of cover up and hide your mistakes sometimes, and nobody will know. It doesn't even mean they're mistakes. Sounding a lot like something Bob Ross would say, but seriously, it's true. He was a smart man. There we go. Now I've got the word rad over here. Mexican Soccer says, draw a turtle. You know what? I don't know, how would you draw a turtle? Before I color this in, let me put a new layer here with a turtle on it. What the heck does a turtle look like? A turtle has, like, let me think here. Boom. Turtles have feet, look something like that. Then, like, they have their shells, and they have, like, their faces and stuff that pop out of their shells. His head is flat, so I'm going to put a hat on him to hide that. Again, we were just talking about hiding mistakes. Boom. But he needs other... Wait a minute. Turtle, bro. I'm going to cut your head off real quick. Turtle, bro. Put it over here. Jam. Look, I was not expecting to draw turtles today. So... Also, I don't know if I've ever drawn a turtle. Oh, no. I mean, like, a turtle from above looks like what? Like this. They have their head, and then they have their other arm, and their shell, and, like, their tail. But a turtle from the front over here, I don't like this. Boom. So he needs... Okay, I got this. It's me figuring out what a turtle looks like in real time. Oh wait, that's a smudge. I'm sure my face looks ripe with concentration. No mistakes, no mistakes. He needs to have a bigger back. Boom. Wait. Smoother, there we go. Smooth. Boom, 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 boom. Turtle tail, boom. And then they always have a line that's kind of like their upper shell and lower shell, I guess. And then they have like, well, they have textures. He's just going to have a grid. There you go, turtle. There you go. I tried my best. We'll color him in. But here we go. We can add in a little more lettering here. Just to give some context here. I'll add in... Boom, boom, boom. Instead of just the word rad... Oh, this T is terrible. There we go. Sorry, I got real deep in concentration. It's so easy to forget that, like, people are watching and listening. Or ideally, people are watching and listening. There we go. Now we have a whole sentence here. Oh, I forgot the most important thing, too. Which would be the exclamation point. Can't say something this emphatically without exclaiming it. There we go. So now we've got our outline. I'm going to create a new layer. Boom. Grab some super rad colors like I really do like green a lot. So I'm just going to fill in. Actually, so right now if I wrote with green, it would draw all over. But since we're doing this digitally, I can put this layer below the outline, and now it will actually go through it, which makes coloring in the lines way easier. So here we go. I'm going to fill in the letters here. I really love bright, obnoxious lime green. I'm quite obsessed with blue. A lot of people already know that about me. That shouldn't be a surprise. But man, I really love, especially for something like the word rad, just some lime green craziness. You could see this from 10 miles away. And I don't even have to be real careful with the lines, because if I take off the layer, you can see my coloring job is quite terrible. But it's all covered up by the outlines that I drew earlier. So again, you can learn these little tricks that let things go much quicker than they would otherwise. And there we go. Turtles are red. So now that's cool. It's green. I'd like to add a little bit more just to make it... just wait. Sorry, I just saw something. I call the turtle Turtle Joe and sign off. Oh, I will sign on this work of art with Turtle Joe. Don't you worry. So now, we are not done yet, though. I'll add another layer. Anytime you're kind of drawing, doing art, you're basically just building and refining. So I'm going to take this green. I'm going to make it a little bit darker this time. And now I'm just going to fill in. I'm going to see if this works, actually. This is what I would normally do with like Prismacolors if I were doing this by hand. I'm just going to fill in the bottom here. And then I'm going to take this smudge tool. Let's see. I might actually just want to use my fingers for this. Yeah, this would be good. There. Just kind of giving some texture here. It's a little darker than I would want it to be, but I'll kind of show you how to fix that. This basically is like if you were doing watercolors or acrylic and you got a bunch of water and put it on your palette, what it would do. Cool. If you notice, I messed up and went outside of the lines in some spots. I'm not super worried about that because I'll just take the eraser and erase that. I do like when I have thick lines like this for things to be nice and clean around the lines. And then what I can actually do is this layer, I can just take the I turned it off. I can just take the opacity, turn it down a little bit. You know what, I'm not super crazy about this. You know what, there's no point in not admitting that I didn't like that. So let me try something different. Let me try a new layer with this color and just a little bit of it. Man, this smudge tool is crazy. There we go. That's what I wanted. That feels a lot more like what it would be like to work with a Prismacolor. Much better. Where I'm just kind of giving it a depth now, not necessarily like changing the whole color. It's almost like a subtle three-dimensional feel. All right, so then I will take the smudgy tool and we will smudgy. And this what I'm doing right now is exactly what I would be doing by hand with Prismacolors. And it's giving me the exact same result. And it's so crazy that I can do this with a tablet. It feels exactly like paper would. Oh man, this looks straight out of the 1980s from like some skate video or something. There we go. And so by adding in that layer, basically all that I did, if I turn it off and on, just kind of gave a little bit of texture there, which I like. I can even take it a step further by adding another layer, going back to white, really thin white lines, kind of throwing in some highlights around here, just to really make these letters look, I don't know, three-dimensional, as if they exist in the real world. Take this sweet smudgy tool, smudgy these guys around a little bit. Again, I'm not going for any kind of perfection here. This is just kind of quick and dirty, but it gets the job done. It's always pretty fun when you have time to add in these little touches to lettering. Lettering, it's so cool. When you start to think of letters as art rather than just writing, man, it kind of changes everything. So there we go. The word rad. It looks cool. I really love the way, I have this obnoxious lime green. I really love the way orange looks with it. You know what? Oh, Heather, you're saying, can I sell turtle merch? That's going to be my mascot now. Because my channel is growing slowly and steadily like a turtle. But it lasts a really long time, like a turtle. Anyway, I forgot this little smudgy down here. There. Now, what I'd like to do is create a layer below all this chaos. New layer. We'll move it down. Boom. And I would like to select a crazy orange. And I'd also like to bump up into like a different brush of some kind. Let's do an airbrush. Ooh, like a soft airbrush. But it needs to be big. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's play with this brush a little bit. So we're going to use a soft airbrush. Turn down the opacity. Bleed and get rid of it. It needs to be soft. It doesn't need to be quite that soft. Let's see. No, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I want exactly. That's closer. Much closer. Okay, much more like this. Yeah, and then we'll change the size here. Okay. Too small. There we go. So now I'm just pretending basically that I'm airbrushing this. I don't know, it's like graffitied on the wall outside of a mall in the 1980s or something. This really looks like airbrushing. It's crazy. I mean, really crappy airbrushing, but airbrushing nonetheless. Boom, there we go. And again, this is all on its own layer, so I don't have to worry about like coloring over any of my other stuff that I've done. That got really weird all of a sudden. Boom. There we go. Fill that in, fill this in. Boom. There we go. Turtles are rad. And now I kind of think I want to go back to green and outline these guys. I mean, this is very sloppy, but it totally works for the cheesy, like, I guess, 1980s skate video effect that I'm going for some reason. Because that just happens to be my style. It also gives a little weight to the top part of this drawing. Turtles are rad. And speaking of rad turtles, here's a rad turtle. Was it Turtle Joe? Was that the name? Wait. Yes. Turtle Joe. Oh, the splatters. Yes. This is definitely better than Da Vinci's art. Don't forget to color the rad sun. Oh yeah, everything here is rad. This is just a super rad drawing day here. So let's go back. Let's grab some black here. Boom, boom. Jump back. Going into monoline. Turtle Joe. Oh yeah. And the sun. Yes, let's color in our rad sun. I don't know why the sun would be wearing sunglasses, because he's the sun. It's because I don't know. That's like dogs don't take allergy pills. I don't know if that makes sense. Like if you're allergic to cats, the cat doesn't take an allergy pill. The sun is wearing sunglasses for no reason. What an insane looking drawing this is. But here we go. You know what? We'll have to do some cleanup here. Let's go over here. Sorry, little guy. I'm going to take you out. Now we've got... There we go. So the point is, that kind of went... Oh, wait, the splatters. Oh, I just had ideas. We're going to go get some blue here. Sorry, I was almost done, and then we are not done. Jump down here, add a new layer, move it down below. Because we have that sweet calligraphy pen, the script pen, which I like, because, oh yeah, this is going to be nice. Boom. Because we can just add some nice splats back here, which normally, if I were doing this by hand, would actually take quite a while. But because I've got this pressure sensitive pencil, this is taking like no time at all. There, I don't know what this would be like if you sprayed it with spray paint. I guess that's my style, is like bad spray paint graffiti. But I really like it, so anyway, if you see somebody tag turtles or rad on the side of a building, it wasn't me. It was Mexican Soccer Kid. There we go. Boom. There we go. That's pretty sweet. And so if you look at our composition here, I'm going to turn off all the layers, actually, so we can go through one by one. If you look at it separately, it looks insane. Like if I showed you this, you would kind of be like, that doesn't look very good. Or if I just showed you this, you'd be like, that doesn't look so great, or that doesn't look so great. Can't even see that. That looks kind of weird. But once you add in all the elements together, layer by layer by layer, then you suddenly have a full composition. And even though this is silly and goofy and ridiculous, I actually like the way that it looks. Like if somebody wanted me to draw something about turtles being rad and that was what I had to give them, I wouldn't feel bad about that. I could even turn off the background layer and then have a PNG version of it. Let's do one thing to wrap this up. Let's export the time-lapse video and just see how that looks. So that's kind of how we'll sign off, is with that time-lapse video. But boom. But before I play that, let me check in with these comments real quick. Turtle merch. I colored the weird sun. Fresh rock entry. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That is the style. That is exactly that late 80s, early 90s, just ridiculous, over-the-top style. I love it. So, Mexican Soccer Kid, thank you for all of your ideas. Let's play the time lapse of what we created here. So there you go. Starting very simply, just with random ideas. There's the turtles. I did make the one mistake drawing the green at first, but we fixed it. Went back, add some outlines, boom, boom, boom. Add in those dots. Nice. So that is pretty dang cool. So that's kind of that. I mean, that's basically how I've been doing the titles for my videos since like September. Sort of stumbled across it by accident, really, and figured out a way to do it. And now I've seen it becoming really popular on YouTube. So that's basically how it's done, along with like some weird art lesson. But, you know, why not? So anyway, that's all done with iPad Pro, Apple Pencil, and Procreate. Let me look up, actually, in the App Store right now, just so I'm not giving you guys false information, because I would hate to do that. Right now, Procreate costs... Oh, it doesn't tell me because I already bought it. I swear it was $4.99. It might have been $9.99, but I'm like 90% positive it's a $5 app. There's also an app, which actually... I'll show you guys this too. There is also an app called Adobe Sketch from Adobe, which is obviously like a bigger... See, right off the bat right now I have to like sign in just to use it. Well, I have an Adobe ID, but I'm not going to sign in right now. But anyway, Adobe Sketch is great. It works fantastic, but they're totally playing catch up, which is really stupid for a company like Adobe to not have jumped on the tablet drawing thing. Because this is also like a sketchbook. I can put this in my bag and carry it with me and work on it wherever I need to. I can't do that with a Cintiq that has full Photoshop on it. That has to be stuck to a computer, set up, plugged into the wall, the whole thing. So Adobe has Adobe Sketch, which is part of... Actually, Adobe Sketch might be free or a paid version. You have to have Creative Cloud or something. It's a little more complex, and honestly, I think Procreate's a little more full-featured. Also, Procreate was first to the market, so I kind of give them that credit that they deserve. And gosh, Procreate is just pretty dang awesome. So that's what I've been using to do all my stuff. I highly recommend it. Down in the description for this live stream, I did put links to 2 videos I made in the past. One is a quick walkthrough on exactly how to do what I said and put Procreate titles in your videos. And the other one is a short hand lettering tutorial that kind of goes over more in depth what I covered in terms of like how to do hand lettering based on your own handwriting. Which is a little different. So that's you creating your own fonts rather than trying to imitate somebody else's. But that's basically it. So that was our Sunday Funday live stream. Again, it seems stupid to pay $100 for something called a pencil, but when you really see the functionality that it unlocks, this is so worth it when you think that something like a Cintiq, you know, an Intuos tablet can be a couple $100. A Cintiq is hundreds, if not thousands of dollars and needs a computer. This just needs an iPad and you're good to go. So I know I sound like a salesperson, but geez, I really like it. Okay, Mexicans Arcade, you're asking me to watch one of your videos. I will watch one of your videos since you're sitting here watching on my live stream. Let me see. Rock Entry, you're saying, could I do a tutorial on how to do animated notations on top of video? I think that probably is exactly what I covered in the tutorial that's linked below, which is hand-drawn titles using Procreate. And it's basically just using that time-lapse video function. You just put that video in your editor and kind of like reconfigure it a little bit. Cover all the instructions there. If that doesn't answer your question, just let me know and I'll walk through more, because it's relatively simple and it's definitely a lot of fun. Let's see, what else just before we wrap it up? Yeah, I know it sounds like we're selling iPads, but these things are awesome. I ordered several of them at school for the program that I teach in, and man, putting these things in the hands of students who are really good at art, especially this is the small one, there's the bigger one. It's so crazy and it's so easy to just take with you and to use everywhere and to fold up. And I 3D printed this pencil holder, but also for like $4, I just got one that hooks it on the back of the iPad and you're good to go. Again, the only dumb thing is that to charge and pair the pencil, you have to plug it into your iPad like this, which looks stupid and is also like dangerous. But it only takes 5 or 10 minutes to charge the pencil and it lasts for a couple of days. So it's not too bad. There's a little lightning connector on the end instead of an eraser. So it doesn't have an eraser function. But otherwise, it's pretty sweet. So that's pretty much it. Let me know if you guys have any more questions about any of this stuff. I'm happy to answer it. I think the videos I linked below should answer most of the questions that popped up, but if they don't, please let me know. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure that you do. I'm real close to 200. I'm excited about 200 because it wasn't that long ago that I was celebrating 100 and 150, and like it's really cool to see the channel's growth. Make sure to check back on Tuesday morning for a new video. And like this video, subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you guys again for another Sunday Funday live stream. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. I hope you have an awesome week. If you don't have school or work tomorrow, enjoy your day off. Otherwise, have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday at